This is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network, out with the news that 6 months ago, $23 million was given to police departments for body cameras. Since then, there is an 80% drop in complaints and a 60% drop in use of force. What do you think of this?
I think it's good that the use of force has dropped, but I think more of the police officers need to use the body cams, especially since we've paid so much in taxes for them to have them.
Now, only 32% of police departments actually use body cameras.
Again, they need to actually make use of that kind of budget, and if they don't have anything to hide, then it's not a problem for them to be wearing the cams. It keeps them safe as well.
Now, questions are out about how much of the officer's day to record and how long before making the footage public. Questions are out about how much of the officer's day should be recorded and how long before making the footage public. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't see the problem with having the body cams on as long as they're for as long as they're on duty, but in terms of when the footage should be released, I mean, there's a certain amount of time for court cases to be resolved and that sort of thing. To the general public, that depends on the case.
Now, Taser International is the main company supplying cameras to the police. Should Taser also use... I'm mixing them up because it's the company of the... Taser International is the main company supplying cameras to the police. Should tasers also be used by the police, and what would... Damn it. Taser International is the main company supplying cameras to the police. Should tasers also be used by the police, and what do you think about Taser International getting so much of this business?
Well, I guess what's good for business is good for business, but I do agree that the police officers should carry more tasers and maybe reach for that first as opposed to a firearm.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
No, thank you.
Closing, this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network saying, live long and prosper. This is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network, out with the news that 6 months ago, $23 million was given to police departments for body cameras. Since then, there was an 80% drop in complaints and 60% drop in the use of force. What do you think of this?
For my opinion, on the 80% on the complaints, maybe a lot of people don't want to risk showing off their privacy. That I guess they think is, well, how do you say it? It's a violation of their privacy. And on the 60% of use of force, I guess that the 60% drop in use of force, with the cameras showing everything that what's going on with the crime, that's not really sure how to go on from there.
Just a little closer so we can stay in.
Yeah.
Now, only 32% of police departments use body cameras. What do you think of this?
Only 32%. I guess for today's society, I guess it's kind of strange that most people don't want to wear the body camera. Might be more the corrupted ones that likes to abuse their authorities. That's what I think is wrong. But those who actually use it, I support them because they're actually following their rules.
Now, questions are out on how much of the officer's day to record and how long before making the footage public. What do you think of that?
Mostly I noticed that most of the big thing, if they record, mostly takes about a couple months before they make it public, and by then it's gonna be old news by now. But still, if they show something that's pretty horrific, people would make a big deal out of it.
Now, just make sure you say. I just feel like you're walking.
No, I would just,
Yeah, I know. It's just ILES. All right, Taser International is the main company supplying cameras to the police. Should tasers also be used by police? And what do you think of Taser International getting so much of this business?
For the taser business, that's a really hard decision because I've seen a lot of officers use those tasers just out of nowhere. I mean, it is okay for them to use it in case the suspect's getting too violent, but never use it on anyone that's just calmly resisting their what do you call it? Their accusation.
little closer. Any last minute things you'd like to say?
Shout out to this TitanCon. And shout out to my buddies that could make it with me.
So in closing, this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network saying, live long and prosper. This is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network, out with the news that 6 months ago, $23 million was given to police departments for body cameras. Since then, there is an 80% drop in complaints and 60% drop in use of force. What do you make of this?
I believe that it's true because the body cams out there are supposed to use to protect not just the cops, and it also protects the civilians as well in regards to excessive force or whatever and speech and whatnot.
Now, only 32% of police departments use body cameras. What do you think of that?
Somehow I believe there's more than 32, but I mean, some departments are still trying to catch up to like the funding, and funding is very hard in my opinion.
Okay, just scream
Yeah, just scream at the mic, got it.
Questions around about how much of the officer's day should be recorded and how long before making the footage public. What do you think of this?
In regards to, can I see that first? In regards to how much of the officer's day should be recorded, I believe it should be recorded minus the times they're like breaks. Like when they're on foot, out and walking, I believe that's the best time to record every single one of those days and whatnot. Minus, like, I guess when you're in the department, those should stay off camera. But when you're out doing on the line, you know, in duty, I bet that's the best time. But, and then how long should it be made public? That's per discretion, really. I mean, it's all media and politics and stuff, so I don't know what I think on that.
Okay, now Taser International is the main company supplying cameras to the police. Taser International is the main company supplying cameras to the police. Should tasers also be used by police? And what do you think about Taser International getting so much of that business?
What do you mean by should tasers be used by police? Like taser guns? I say that should be used more often than first line of defense of regular guns. But, you know, if you're on the force or whatever, you can't stop yourself from reaching for the first main line of defense. I mean, if you're being attacked, it's fight or flight, and it's either you or the other person. I mean, sure, you can reach for a taser, but I would like to see like more apprehensions with tasers than say with a gun. It's for the other person's safety.
So in close, oh hey, we're running off camera. So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
I mean, based on what the media puts, you know, apparently for officers and how the police is excessive and all of this stuff, I think they're still there for the good of the people. Not one bad apple makes everybody bad. That's what I see, as far as, you know, relating to police and media.
So in closing, this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network saying, live long and prosper. This is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network, out with the news that 6 months ago, $23 million was given to police departments for body cameras. And since then, there was an 80% drop in complaints and 60% drop in use of force. What do you think of this?
I think well, I am new to the force, so it's hard to, I guess it's too soon to tell what my thoughts would be on it. So, yeah, I guess if I had personal experience with the body cameras, maybe I could give you a better feedback on that.
Now, only 32% of police departments use body cameras. What do you think of this?
32%. Is there a reason why there's only 32%?
I'm asking you. You're the cop.
Well, again, I don't really have much experience with the body cameras, but yeah, I would try interviewing someone who has actually had experience with the body camera.
Okay. Now, questions around about how much of the officer's day to record and how long before making the footage public. What do you think of that?
Well, personally, I wouldn't make any footage public because I feel like that's disrespect for the right of the privacy of citizens and other people, you know.
Now, Taser International is the main company supplying cameras to the police. Now, should tasers also be used by police, and what do you think about Taser International getting so much of that business?
For me, it really depends on the situation. I don't think tasers should be used quite often, but only when necessary, when putting down criminals, without the need for firearms. So I think tasers can be necessary, but yeah.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
I'd like to say, please no discrimination against bunnies. I am the very first bunny cop, and yes, that's it.
So in closing, this is Clark Kent on the Predatory Lending Network saying, live long and prosper.